Recently, Zayn Malik has actually been accused of harassing Gigi Hadid's mother. Now, a lot of you could think he would never do such a thing. He is a saint. And a lot of you think that Yolanda's doing it for her own personal reasons and she's getting something out of it. This is what we're going to talk about in this video. What is the truth? So most of you probably know Zayn Malik is from the band One Direction, which then eventually broke up and he became a solo artist. So now he is in the industry with Sony Music Productions. He's recently actually been dropped out of there, which for some reason seems a bit strange. Which artists do we know that get dropped from their label? Can this connect to the fact that this Yolanda thing has happened as well? Is there a connection there? Okay, so while editing this video, I just found out that he actually got dropped from his label because of the Yolanda situation. Here's me thinking I'm some sort of detective trying to link things together. No, he actually got dropped from his label because of the situation with Gigi's mum. Glad that's cleared up. Now, Yolanda Hadid is the mother of Gigi Hadid, which is, well, was Zayn Malik's partner. They've been on and off again forever, basically, and they've actually got a 1-year-old daughter now as well. Yolanda Hadid was a model herself, and she was actually a TV personality. She was mainly known for being in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which we all know she was a bit...
Your husband might come and we can have a chat.
My husband, do you think my husband wants to hang with somebody like you who attacks somebody's woman in public? I mean, you're kidding me? You kidding me? No, it's fine.
Well, let your husband tell me that.
Don't touch me. Oh, don't touch me.
So, starting right from the beginning, the Hadid family have never actually liked Zayn Malik, as you've probably noticed from all the news articles in the past. For example, when they had their first child, Gigi Hadid's father actually mentioned the fact that he is so happy that this baby's got all the traits from the daughter and nothing like the father, which isn't harsh, but is very disregarding to the fact that this is his basically son-in-law. It's not a normal thing that people do. They'll always say, wow, they look exactly like their parents, or they always kind of talk about the parents collectively. They don't really disregard one parent completely, especially when you're part of that family. In August 2020, Yolanda Hadid was also found talking about the fact that Gigi Hadid is in the prime of her career, in the prime of being a model, and she doesn't need a bad influence boyfriend bringing her down. Now, this was mentioned a lot. A lot of the Hadid family mentioned Zayn Malik being a bad influence. Is that because he was doing drugs? Is that because he was just so different to that family? Where did they get this impression that Zayn Malik was a bad influence? Because again, there's only so much we know as the public and how much they will know being in his private life. But if the whole family is saying that, clearly there's something there. Zayn Malik is rarely on the press. However, when he is, it always seems negative. I've always found that when Zayn Malik is spoken about in the media, it's a very negative situation. For example, talking about Bella Hadid, she has a friend called Daniel who was actually seen verbally abusing Zayn Malik and Zayn Malik having an argument back with him. Now, this caused a lot of commotion because it was so public at the time. Obviously, when you're putting something online with an artist, with a famous person, it will blow up. And in that situation, it looked like Daniel was put in the bad light for being so nasty to Zayn Malik, but Zayn Malik was also put in the bad light for talking back.
Ass bitch. What the fuck are you talking? Are you dumb? No. Who the fuck are you? Wait, stop. Who the fuck are you? I'm fucking. Wait. I want to see the let him go, right? Actually, why am I going? Who the fuck said anything to you? You pussy bastard. No.
Why are you filming? Why are you fucking?
The fact that this Daniel person was Bella Hadid, best friend, saying such awful things about Bella Hadid's brother-in-law. Now, that's where it's a bit weird because where has Daniel got all this information from? Why does he hate Zayn Malik so much? And if he knew that Bella respected her brother-in-law, he would be quiet about it. You, as a friend, you would respect your friend's family members. And clearly that isn't the case here. Daniel felt like he could say such things, which means, has Bella Hadid been saying the same things to Daniel? Bella obviously clearly doesn't like Zayn Malik either if she's allowing her best friend to say such things. So it does seem like the whole family doesn't like Zayn Malik, and that's where red flags are kind of presented. If the whole family doesn't like someone, clearly there's an issue there. However, going back to Yolanda Hadid, we know she's a very outspoken, controlling woman. If you've seen the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know what type of personality she is. She's very loud, outspoken. She feels like she's a very strong woman. However, very problematic at the same time. You've seen what she's like with her kids as well. She seems like she wants to control her family members. When she was talking about how Gigi Hadid needs to go on her diet again and she's only allowed one day of being bad, like having food is a bad thing.
I'm so excited for the food. Pretty much all the food that we're eating is like a heart attack in a meal. It's like, but it's gonna be so good.
It's good. You can have one night of being bad, right?
Yeah, I was actually really good this week.
Yeah. And then you gotta get back on your diet though. Because you know, in Paris and Milan, they like the girls just a tad on the skinny side. Things
like this, telling your kids from a young age, can be very disturbing to that child, especially as they get older, because they think that eating bad things is wrong. And they're going to constantly have that mindset. She wants her kids to be exactly how she wants them to be, which is controlling. And if Zayn Malik isn't going to fall into that, is that why he's a bad influence? Because he is not listening to Yolanda Hadid? Because he doesn't agree with what Yolanda has to say? Zayn is the very opposite of Yolanda. He has been spoken about the fact that he has anxiety, and he is a very quiet person. He's not on the news much at all. I have not noticed him to be on the news much, but when he is, it always seems like it's in a negative light. He always seems like he's arguing with someone when he is on the news. But again, is that rare, or is it the fact that it seems like it's so much to us because that's all we see when we look at the news? Is that why he looks like he's such a bad person? Whereas if it was just normal things that are constantly on the news, like he's done this today and he's done this today, it wouldn't seem like he's much of a bad person than when all we are getting from the news is arguments from him. It was also found that Yolanda kind of took it upon herself to overcome Zayn Malik's anxiety, to cure his anxiety. And it was found that she kind of did some sort of weird intervention where she brought a bunch of healers in, and Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik actually walked in to find these healers chanting and throwing essence upon him and actually saying that they need to get rid of Zayn Malik's anxiety blood and put in clean, fresh blood. Obviously, from an outsider's point of view, that seems terrifying. That seems like it is just not normal at all. And for Zayn Malik, as he is not being controlled by Yolanda and the whole family, he will see this as a really weird thing. And even though she's trying to do it in a good light, she's trying to cure his anxiety, it probably made his anxiety worse. And I'm pretty sure he mentioned that it made his anxiety worse. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know if Yolanda wants to cure his anxiety because she truly cares about him, which we know she kind of doesn't because we've seen all the things she said about it. Or is she curing his anxiety because she just wants to feel in control again? She wants Zayn Malik to be how the rest of the family is, outspoken, we know that she's wanted him to do reality shows a lot and he's always said no. So is that why she just wants to cure his anxiety so he can be more like her? It all seems like a selfish reason with Yolanda. Nothing ever seems like a true reason that she truly just cares about people. It does always seem like she has her own agenda to it. Now, going back to the actual harassment accusations, it was very strange to me how when Gigi went to Paris, that is when Yolanda came with her bodyguard to Zayn Malik's house. That on itself is a strange thing. If you want to come see Zayn Malik and you want to come see the child, wouldn't you come alone? Why would you bring your bodyguards? But again, we're going to move that to the side because maybe she just wants to be protected at all times in case walking to the house was like a danger to her. And then that is when all these accusations began, where apparently he threw her into a wardrobe. He'd said a lot of swear words, which I'm not going to repeat. And yet, she didn't bother going to the police about this. She went to the TMZ first. If that is not already a sketchy thing, what else is sketchy about that? Because if you are seriously concerned about your own well-being and concerned about what your son-in-law has done, you would go instantly to the police. You would tell them what's happened. If you're hurt, you would tell them that you're hurt. This is the reason. You wouldn't go to the TMZ and put Zayn Malik in a bad light again to the public before going to the police. That is not something a normal person would do unless they have an agenda behind it. A lot of people think that she's actually doing this because she wants custody of the child. She wants Gigi to have custody of the child. She knows that Zayn Malik can't be controlled by her, and so she just wants him out of the picture altogether. Which in this case kind of seems true because of the way that she has gone to the press before she's gone to the police about this. She wants to put Zayn Malik in a bad light before actually resolving the whole situation and the issue. And why is it that she went and said this when Gigi was in Paris, when Gigi couldn't see what was happening? And so in Gigi's case, she has to either listen to her partner's side of the story or she has to listen to her mum's side of the story. And she's really put in a difficult situation there. We know that Zayn Malik can be quite angry at times from what we've seen on the press already. But clearly, Yolanda has said such things for him to make him angry. What else could it be? Although he might maybe have anger issues, which we don't know about either. And that easy triggers can be set off for him to become angry. There's a lot we don't know about the situation. However, putting in past examples of what Yolanda's like, it is very easy for us to judge the situation. And I think that's what's happened here. So many people are talking about how Yolanda is doing this for her own agenda. She wants Gigi to have custody of the child. She wants Zayn out of the picture. We're all blaming Yolanda. But a lot of people are also saying the fact that Yolanda deserved the abuse that she got. Now, this is wrong. No one deserves any sort of abuse. No one deserves to be abused, no matter how much of a bad person they are or how much of a bad person you think they are. We know what is morally right and what is not. And being abused is not morally right at all. No one deserves that. So saying that, yes, she deserved that, Zayn Malik deserved to hit her. No. On the reports, it actually seems that Zayn Malik was actually charged under the code of A3, which isn't physical abuse. It's more like verbal abuse, things like that. A1 is physical abuse. If Yolanda's statement was correct and he did push her into a closet and a wardrobe, wouldn't he be charged with physical harassment for that? However, he hasn't been, which is kind of a concern. Yet Zayn Malik hasn't pled guilty or innocent. He's actually pled non-contestant, which in a normal situation seems like a lot of red flags. If somebody's pled non-contestant, you kind of think that, okay, yeah, so they know they've done it. They just don't want to say anything about it. Whereas in Zayn Malik's situation, I feel like maybe he has done something. Maybe he has swore at her and said a lot of things, which is natural in an argument. You can't control your anger and things are said that shouldn't be said. However, he is also a very quiet person. He doesn't like to be in the light. He is very anxious and things like that. So do you think he's pled no contestant because he doesn't want this whole situation being put in the light? As well, like we said before, he has a child. He doesn't want anything to happen to this child. He doesn't want this child to be put in a bad situation when they grow up as well. And the same with Gigi Hadid, when she got asked if she wants to put this into light, she said no. In the case of her child, she doesn't want this to be in the light. So maybe that is the reason he's pled no contestant and he's not pled guilty, because he doesn't want any more to come out of this. He just wants to accept the charge and just leave it here, so his child can then still be in the safety of her own privacy. Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik have now actually split up, which I find very sad in a way. That is this because of Yolanda? Has she got the thing she wanted, that she wanted them to split up? However, as well, their relationship's been on and off constantly. And already that is a sign of red flags. If a relationship's constantly getting broken up and brought back together, there's something wrong in that relationship. If they're breaking up, there is something wrong. And if they're going back to that person, then obviously they're just kind of putting that wrong thing to the side because they want to make it work. So we don't know in this situation if them breaking up is a good thing or not. But for the child, it's a bit of a sad thing. No child wants to be brought up in a split family. And honestly, in this situation, the child has been brought up in a very difficult family, it seems like, with a very problematic grandmother who wants a lot for this child, who wants to be a second mother to this child, like it said, which I understand from Zayn's perspective why that is so angering to him. He has seen what sort of mother Yolanda was to Gigi with the dieting and things like that, and he doesn't want that for his child. Like I said at the start of this video, there's a lot we don't know about the situation. There's a lot we don't know about the individuals privately. We know a lot about Zayn Malik, but we don't know everything about Zayn Malik. And yeah, we know a lot about Yolanda. Even in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she's already accused of somebody else of harassment, of abusing her, just when we noticed that he only touched the arm. So things like this, having these false accusations going around a lot of people aren't going to believe her for that, because it's just the boy who cried wolf. Again, we don't know the situation. I really want to know what you guys think of the situation, though. Do you genuinely think Yolanda did actually get hurt by Zayn Malik? Zayn Malik did abuse her? Do you think that she's doing it all for attention? Or do you think that she wants custody of the baby? She wants Gigi Hadid to have custody of the baby. She wants to have control over her family again. Let me know in the comments below, because I really want to know what you guys, the public, actually think about this situation.